But I think the debt law case really solidified, and someone had to call the SEC, whether it be in the administration or whether it be, the president himself or whoever. A call had to be made saying, back down. This is the time to, if it's even legally a little wishy-washy, we can't be taking these losses here, and we can't be having campaign effects that could jeopardize the fact that we could be in the White House next year. So, and it's a crazy thing that conversation happened because many folks in DC did not think that was going to be the case. But momentum is shifting, and again, it's the engaged grassroots. It's Twitter. It is the people calling their members of Congress, and that is exactly what happened. But compounded with the SEC just going over on the legal bounds here, and someone had to call them and check them.
This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is one of the top crypto platforms out there, which allows you to easily buy, sell, trade Bitcoin and the top altcoins in the market. Uphold lists 260 plus cryptocurrencies. They also allow you to trade precious metals such as gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. I've been a user of Uphold since 2018, so I can vouch for this platform. They have full transparency reports, and they don't commingle or lend out your funds. They also have a great product called Vault, which is an assisted self-custody product. Vault allows you to maintain custody of your funds, and the keys are split. So Uphold holds one and you hold two. And if there's any issues, if you lose one of your keys, Uphold will help restore these keys, and you can maintain access to your funds. It's 24/7 instant trading. It's trustless. So this is a great feature that can give you peace of mind where you don't have to worry about if you lose your private keys and much more. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, please visit the link in the description. Welcome to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Ron Hammond, who is the Director of Government Relations at the Blockchain Association. But Ron's not in DC today. Ron's in Miami. So welcome, Ron.
Thanks, Tony, for having me. I am working but I think it's worth a little celebration after this week, which I'm sure we'll get into very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Like you said, we got to celebrate because what an incredible 3 to 4 weeks we've seen, Ron. I mean, from SOB 121 getting repealed in the House and the Senate, Donald Trump coming out supporting crypto, changing the political winds, the FIT21 vote getting passed in the House, and then you have the Ethereum Spot ETFs getting the partial approval. So much winning happening. I don't even know where to start.
And it's a really weird feeling. Again, I've personally been in this, whether it be a Hill staffer or whether through in-house at Ripple and now more on the trade association side. We're finally winning. And, again, wins in DC don't come too often, especially when it comes like this explicit. And we have a lot of them this week. So the tides are turning. Can't wait to dive in.
So, Ron, let's start with SOB 121. Obviously, that was repealed in the House and the Senate. However, I saw you tweet out that it didn't make its way to the president's office in the timeline that most people were thinking. Tell us about that.
Of course, and this is kind of more of a recent development. So they have a set number of days, at least in Congress, before they can send a Congressional Review Act, which was what the SAB 121 repeal was, to the president. It seemed like they probably were waiting to purposely delay putting that out there because they wanted to see how the FIT21 vote went, which was, and I'm sure we'll get into this very shortly, beyond expectations. Anyone here in DC within the industry as well. That was definitely a finalization that the momentum has drastically shifted towards a pro industry side, or at least pro crypto, or at least pro data technology. So that's been a really recent development. It seems like after that was sent, that was on yesterday, Thursday, and there's now a 10-day shot clock that the president has to respond to signing it or vetoing it. If he does veto it, it is a 2/3 majority. Congress has to overrule here, which at least currently right now, they don't have those dynamics. And usually it's pretty rare to gain more votes post a veto because that's typically focuses on what would reverse their position, seeing that they're flip-flopping on issues and stuff like that. So, but I will say the pressure that the White House is feeling right now is very, very apparent. And we've seen that play out with the complete 180 when it comes to the Ethereum ETF, which no one DC saw coming. And I think it's really a momentum shift here that shows that, hey, the ball's in the president's court, and the admin had the chance to say a veto threat like they did for SAB 121, for FIT21, and they decided to just say, we don't like some elements of it, but we are looking forward to having a conversation and trying to have a regulatory framework, which is a complete contrast to what the SEC was telling Congress last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, saying that the rules are clear, there's no need for regulatory framework, and it's actually on the industry for not complying. When everyone else has said, including now the courts, and now it looks like the White House as well, that doesn't hold water. And it looks like we need to have a regulatory framework. So we're slowly getting there. The question is, this is kind of the third, I had a more three-strike policy when it came to the White House with SAB-121 veto, we have FIT21 veto, and then the ETH ETF. And at least two of those three right now, the White House went positive. And that was not what many expected here in DC, or at least in DC, not here in Miami, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, Ron, do you think the probability of the president vetoing this has reduced given political winds have changed? This thing is, you got Democrats, the president's own party, siding with Republicans to get these things repealed and even getting the FIT bill passed. So do you think there's a lower probability of him vetoing this?
I would say it's a lower probability, but there's still a lot that can happen. And again, a lot of these conversations are happening probably in the Oval Office or in the West Wing. And these are conversations that many folks will just have to speculate on what exactly is happening. But we are seeing the end results right now, again, with the ETF in particular, complete 180 that no one saw coming. And I think that's also a sign that, hey, it's probably likely someone in the campaign within the Biden team said, we see these polls from the industry. We have cast some doubts if they actually hold any water in terms to if there's a crypto voter or a single issue voter. But I think they finally woke up and said, well, there's no anti-crypto voter, but there seems to be a lot more votes here on the pro-crypto side. And again, if you're just doing the simple math here, it's like you're not getting any allies, you're losing them in a very tough election. And when Joe Biden's down in some polls by 30 points in the youth vote to Donald Trump, which when as a Republican ever won the youth vote, it hasn't been 4 years to my knowledge. And so the question is, I think, who pushed the SEC within the White House to kind of back down? It's unclear at the moment. I'm not sure we'll ever know. But at the same time, the tides are turning. And I think a lot of that comes down to the polling here. I know Trump may have had some play here, but I think a lot of that has been, this the shift in the industry norm since honestly, the Bitcoin ETF got approved. The vibes have been really high here in DC, and we're finally seeing policy wins, which is so rare. And a lot of folks in DC who really don't follow crypto are saying, man, what's going on here? These guys are actually getting some wins in the industry. I thought these guys were gone after FTX. So it's been a really vindicating moment, and especially feels good after 7 years of just getting beaten down by the SEC, in my experience. At least winning a Hill staffer and moving on to the lobbying side. So very exciting. And it feels really good to be in this moment.
For sure. And Ron, I was blown away by the number of Democrats, 71 Democrats joining Republicans to get the FIT21 bill passed. Historic. Man, you and I have been talking for a long time. And even maybe 2 months ago, we were like, I don't know, right? Things are not looking great. Patrick McHenry's on his way out. And what's going to happen? And then all of a sudden, like a surge, a big tidal wave just came in and things changed for the positive. So were you hearing anything from the Democrats leading up to this vote?
Yeah, at least on the industry side here, the upside is when we came to the last major crypto vote, I would say that was the broker rule. So the broker rule was back in 2021 in the summer. And at that time within the industry, I remember we were doing industry calls with a lot of the relevant stakeholders, more on the lobbying side or more on the nonprofit or think tank side. It's like 6 people. It was a really low number. It was Blockchain Association, Coin Center, Coinbase just started their team, A16Z here and there, but it was a really small set of folks who were actually like more the industry reps. And now that broker rule really changed everything. Folks realized DC is important. The battles are here, and we are being outspent by the banks and big tech. Sometimes 10 to 1, 20 to 1, and we need to step up. And so this time we were doing, more industry calls, talking, updating, sharing intel. It's 50 people. And it was great to be like, wow, we're still actually pretty small compared to the banks and other folks out there on the tech side. But we actually have a little small army here. And what's even better to see is that, for a lot of folks here in DC, there's political Twitter. We have crypto Twitter, but there's political Twitter. It's a whole different animal. And so for a lot of folks more on the staff side who check Twitter every day for everything in politics that's going on, they realize that, wow, like these crypto people are kind of going in my timeline recently with all these bills coming up. there's a lot of people who care about this. There's a lot of engagement on here. And I think it's a combination of a lot of factors, but I think showing that, hey, we have more folks here in DC now on the advocacy side and actually engaging with Congress, but also just the amount of people who are engaging on the grassroots side. And a lot of that you have to thank for Stand With Crypto, but also folks like yourself, Tony, who are just keeping the folks educated, because the one comment I get from a lot of folks on Capitol Hill is the crypto folks are smart. At least they know what they're talking about. It's not just, these really high talking points that really don't really hold that much water policy wise. The crypto folks, they know what they're talking about with the technology. They are educated. So that's been really exciting to see in DC, and it come to fruition, which was 71 Democrats, which no one had that. I mean, we had an internal, some guy was making a poll actually of like how many votes we're going to get. He had thresholds like 1 to 10, 10 to 20. And he capped it at 60. And I'm like, you might want to increase it to like 60, 70, 70, 80, like go all the way to 100. And he's like, there's no way. I don't know. I have a feeling. Wow. And that's what happened. So it was great to see that. And it's great to see folks put their money where their mouth is, because a lot of folks in DC will tell you, I'm pro crypto. But it was put up or shut up time. And a lot of folks showed that they are.
It's amazing, Ron. I'm blown away. And I guess, many of these Democrats are waking up to, hey, we don't want to die in this hill. Like, this is just a technology and an asset class. Why is it a political issue? Obviously Elizabeth Warren is the one behind all of that, but I'm just amazed. And I feel so optimistic now, that, hey, we can at least work on something, get together and get it through. I did not feel this way 2 to 3 months ago, but it's pretty amazing what's happening.
I mean, I am wrong on every prediction so far. I said the crypto wouldn't be an election issue. I said we probably wouldn't get any traction when it comes to stable coins. Maybe we'll get something at the end of the year. But I've been wrong at every turn. So it's an indication of where I am as a lobbyist. But at the same time, I think it's also an indication of just how much the industry is all on a united front here. We're not these fractions in DC. We are all working together. And I think that really shows. And that's, gives us a lot of strength here. Whereas, instead of hiring 150 lobbyists, we just have, a couple handful here and there, but we have a whole crypto army behind us. And that's been really exciting to see from both the industry side as well as the grassroots side.
Okay, Ron. So this bill, the FIT21, is going to the Senate. What are you hearing? What can we expect? I'm thinking nothing happens this year, but we could be wrong. Maybe they do get it through.
It's really hard to see, just like for any bill. Let's say this is any bill topic whatsoever. It's election year, so we're now into the summer sprint, as they call it, and so there's 2 months left, June, July. That's really like the last legislative push, and then everything else is just all about campaign, November. And so it's hard to see, at least right now, a lot of folks from a Democrat-controlled Senate saying, let's take this up, especially with the SEC being so against it. But at the same time, again, sentiment is shifting a little bit. But the main thing I would look at for FIT21 is that there is no Senate companion. There's no one in the Senate that's leading that version of that bill right now. There's Lummis and Gillibrand, which is very similar in terms of the topics covered, but drastically different when it comes to the text. And typically, for a bill that's going to move, you're going to need to have someone in the Senate to lead your charge. So I think FIT21, it's going to be up in the conversation a lot. But I think this is actually more of a momentum builder for both the SAB 121 veto that's before President Biden, that he has to make a decision by Monday, June 3rd, as well as the stablecoin conversation, because that conversation for stablecoins has drastically been a lot farther on. And I think we will get a deal. And the main holdup right now has been the administration. It's been the Fed and Treasury from all sources that we're hearing, both publicly and privately. And I think now Congress can come back to them and say, I think we have the upper hand, and you guys have folded a couple times on the admin side. Let's get moving, because especially the admin, they asked for this in 2021, the stablecoin regulation. And I think we're going to use this momentum to really try to get at least something on the books. And then probably FIT21 will be a 2025 thing. Again, members who are behind the whole push, like French Hill, have been publicly saying that, even after the vote count being so high. But I have been wrong, like I said before. So we could see momentum here. But if I were anyone in this space, I would look toward more the lame duck session. That's what it's after election, November to the end of December. If there's anything that's going to happen, that's probably when the meatiest the legislative period will be. So stay tuned. But crypto is not by any means falling off the radar. We're going to have probably a lot more hearings, on different topics that we just really haven't explored yet on the Hill that will tee up 2025 priorities in this space once we get past the stablecoins.
Mm. Boy, it would be incredible if something gets to the Senate this year. That would be amazing. Um, Now, you mentioned the stablecoin bill. It sounds like I know that hasn't come out the House yet. It sounds like they'll try to maybe, push that next, right? Maybe there's a vote. Any idea when a vote may come up for that in the House?
Yeah, and so for folks not familiar with much of Congress, we have gone seeing a couple different legislative vehicles, and so that does kind of create some confusion. So just to simplify as best I can, so SAB 121 was a Congressional Review Act, which means that there is a mandated timeline that Congress has to act. That's why SAB 121 went through Congress so fast, because it was a review act, and that does have a shot clock. And so next was FIT21. FIT21 is pretty much a normal bill. Now it's split between two committees, but that goes through the normal process of hearings in the committees, and the committee votes on it, then moves to the General House, now to the Senate. And then we, when it comes to kind of like, I guess, the next issues of the year, we have to see where can we get stable coins in. And what they're saying right now is a legislative vehicle. And a legislative vehicle, think of it like a must-pass bill, a spending bill. If you're able to get the lead Republican and the lead Democrat of the House, so that's McHenry and Maxine Waters and Sherrod Brown and Tim Scott in the Senate, called the four-corner sign-off. You get all four of those parties to agree, then you can probably get a bill into a spending bill or a must-pass bill. So that's why also FIT21, the odds of that moving onto any legislative vehicle are slim to none, because Maxine Waters was vocally opposed to that legislation. Yeah. Stablecoins is different. She has buy-in. And Sherrod Brown says he's open to it. So we have more pieces in play. And the most important piece is Chuck Schumer, who voted for the SAB 121 repeal. Right. He is the lead Senate Democrat, and he's involved in these conversations. And if there's a man that can make anything happen in Congress, it's Chuck Schumer.
Wow. The names that are being called out here as it relates to crypto regulation, I'm blown away.
It's amazing. I mean, Nancy Pelosi voted for the bill. I mean, we have some major names here. I think it's been really nice to see a lot of this, again, bipartisan and senior bipartisan support. It doesn't mean that if you're old, more on the upper end of the age limit here, that you're anti-crypto necessarily. And we've seen that with Chuck Schumer, for example. So it's been really good to see us winning. And again, I want to stress that, when I started crypto on Capitol Hill, I thought 3 members of Congress who really cared at all. And now we have so many, over 300, and that's incredible. And seeing that, increase 100 times has been incredible to see. So I'm really over the moon, to say the least.
Now, yesterday we got the Ethereum Spot ETF half approval, I think the 19B-4s, but it pretty much gives the indication that this is happening, right? There's no longer the ambiguity of, will it happen? Will it not happen? Is Ethereum a security or whatever? But this kind of indicates that the SEC is giving up and saying, okay, ETH is a commodity, which has already been established for a long time. But, Gensler, the actions of the SEC brought up that into question. So what are you hearing about this? Were folks surprised that this got approved, and especially last minute?
Yes, very much so. Everyone from DC, at least on the political side, it seemed like that was not happening at all. Especially the last words of the Bitcoin ETF approval from Gensler, that was not an endorsement by any means of crypto. A lot of folks took that as a sign of this is not moving forward. And a lot of the issuers who were talking to the SEC, I was hearing from them as well, those conversations were progressing. And I think the moment that changed it was Debtbox. When Debtbox case happened and the SEC went over their skis and Congress really pushed down the brew saying, this is a bad move here. You guys really went over your bounds. And that is now building into a laundry list of legal fallacies here at the SEC. Also, they have some wins here too. I don't want to say like they're losing all the time. But I think the Debtbox case really solidified, and someone had to call the SEC, whether it be in the administration or whether it be, the president himself or whoever. A call had to be made saying, back down. This is the time to, if it's even legally a little wishy-washy, we can't be taking these losses here, and we can't be having campaign effects that could jeopardize the fact that we could be in the White House next year. So, and it's crazy to think that conversation happened, because many folks in DC did not think that was going to be the case. But momentum is shifting. And again, it's the engaged grassroots. It's Twitter. It is the people calling their members of Congress. And that is exactly what happened, but compounded with the SEC just going over on the legal bounds here, and someone had to call them and check them. So, wow. Which is a scenario many did not expect.
Wow. That's incredible. Now, final question here, because we've been talking about Gensler potentially coming in before the House Financial Services Committee for a hearing. Any updates there? And boy, if he comes in, let's say in June, is he going to get a thrashing, excuse me?
I mean, he was going to get a thrashing regardless of what it comes in. I mean, he was on, again, like, I just want to reiterate here, he was on Capitol Hill personally lobbying both Republicans and Democrats on SAB 121.
Wow.
And the number of folks that broke from him after attending those meetings is so rare in DC, especially when you're going into your own party. Yeah. And so I think, first off, the sign that he came to Capitol Hill more recently, at least as a former staffer, that usually indicates he's trying to, make some touches here. He'll probably do more of a public setting. It's going to be probably July or September, I would say now, because they're just trying to get him to the Hill. And if he does those private meetings, does, at least placate some of the members that the SEC is engaged with Capitol Hill. So I think we'll see it more in that time frame, which is good because I think for him, he is a wounded animal right now. And the question is, who's calling the shots at the White House to tell him to back down? And how long and how far will this go? Because, at least in crypto, it's not just market structure. We have a litany of issues here, and we have other agencies that are overstepping their bounds, like DOJ and Treasury sometimes. And so it's good to say, like, hey, it's not just the SEC, but we're on the winning side here. And look at the numbers in Congress. Like, that proves just how much of a bipartisan support we have here. And that's also a veto proof, at least in the House side, when it came to FIT21, which is incredible, 2/3 majority. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. It's having that number and saying, do you guys really want to make an enemy here? And they're realizing that's a wrong move to make.
Wow. So I'm just like waiting in anticipation what may happen next over the next month or so. I guess Gensler coming in, stablecoin. We'll see if we can get updates around that. Anything else on your radar that you're looking at?
Yeah, I think we're hearing a lot more on the tokenization has been really the hot topic in DC recently. I think a lot of folks are just interested by it, and a lot of the traditional players in finance getting involved in this space. So I think we're going to see some more focus on tokenization, which again, it's kind of more of a preview for what's going to be happening more in 2025, because this is a major growing area of the crypto sector. NFTs have also been getting a lot of conversation in my circles recently. I think a lot of the things from 2021, we might be seeing some more enforcement actions. I don't have any evidence of that, but it just seems like that's been, kind of the SEC playbook when it comes to enforcement actions. Who knows? Maybe they're a little bit on ice after Depbox, but I think we'll see some NFT conversations more. And then, yes, stable coins probably at the end of the year is when we're going to be looking at. We'll see some conversations here and there on FIT21 stables, but we're getting down to shutdown time for the election, and a lot of folks are just going to be focusing on the border, abortion, the economy, inflation. So, but who knows? Crypto's now somewhat in that mix. And, we've been seeing the president or former President Trump engage on this issue and seeing it as a wedge issue. So I am sure he'll be talking about it more and more because, I've been talking with folks both of the Trump campaign, talking my Democrat colleagues, been talking to the Office of the Biden team. That's, jobs of lobbyists here, but the uptick from both of those camps and interest in just crypto issues as a whole has increased significantly. And that's great to see because I did not expect for us to be here.
Yeah, it's wild. Ron, thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you and the folks at the Blockchain Association have been doing. I mean, incredible victories and a lot of winning and well-deserved time in Miami celebrating. So thank you so much.
Hey, it's a group effort. We're all part of this. Tony, we're on Capitol Hill Educate members too. So it's a group effort, and those who listen, engaging with their elected representative, it helps out. It does. It goes a long way. I literally was on the Hill during the FIT21 vote, and I was going from office to office. You would hear the phone ringing, and it's like the intern picks up. It's someone calling about FIT21, and it's really exciting. The member of Congress is walking by their office, and it's like the phones are blowing up. What's going on? It's engaged constituents. So please, guys, keep doing it. When folks from DC say, hey, look, this is the time to call, Stanford Crypto is another good organization. When they say it's time to engage, trust me, I used to be the guy who responded to all the calls that were coming in as a Hill staffer 10 years ago. it goes a long way. So thanks for everyone helping out, and let's keep the good times rolling.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it.